Hello and welcome back to the Chromosomatics Podcast. I'm your host, Charles Monroe, and owner of Chromosomatics Wellness. I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving. I know I did. I know in my last episode I was up late, just about to bake a pie. I actually didn't bake the pie. It was a cold pie, but I had to refrigerate it. So I had a good time with some families and friends. So I hope you all had a good time too. Um, Up late again, had some technical issues with microphone. Got a new microphone, so hopefully this one does better. We had some static in the old microphone, so uh, we'll see how this episode goes. Today, I'm going to talk about a hot topic. Comes up a lot in the office. It's the topic of feminine and masculine energy, and not to be confused with the male and female gender. They're two different things. You know, both male and female um, carry masculine and feminine energies, and it's something that has to be balanced. It's like a yin and yang thing. So it's not so much about the gender, but more about the actual energy that's dominant in that particular person, regardless of the gender that they have. So you might ask, well, okay, well, how does this play into the harmonic egg? Um, and we'll get to that. But first, let's just talk about what feminine energy is, what masculine energy is. So, um, feminine energy is more of a receiving energy. In Chinese medicine, the left side is where you receive, and that's your feminine side. That's your feminine energy. That's where you receive. And whereas the right side, the male side, is where you give, is where you serve, right? That's the male side or the masculine energy. If you ever see some people do Reiki, they'll on the left hand they'll take energy away from you if they have to, and then they'll release it on the right hand because that's the male side. So they're releasing that or discharging that energy on that side. So um, we talk about this a lot um, in the office with various clients for various reasons. I'll give an example. I have a lot of business owners that come to me. So a lot of times when business is slow, and I do this myself, I have to do this myself. Um, they'll come in like, what can I do? And I'll talk to them and see what they're actually doing. And a lot of it is a lot of physical action, which is good. I mean, you have to do physical action. That's masculine, right? But in a lot of cases, that's all they're doing is a lot of physical action, which is masculine. And I'll tell them, uh, you need to work on your feminine side, which is the more receiving, more magnetizing things to you. So if you're looking for abundance, you want to magnetize it to you. You also want to take some action, but not all action. It's like you have to have a balance here. And I'll tell them to go out in nature, go sit on a rock, do nothing, stillness. Sometimes nothing and stillness, not sometimes, all the time. That's actually productive as well. That's you tapping into your feminine energy so that you can attract what you want to you. So be still and let it come. You've already taken all the action you need. Now you have to be still, and let it cook, so to speak. Some people use that term. Put it out there, let it cook, right? And that whole let it cook thing, that's a feminine thing. Let it cook. Leave it be. Don't observe it too much. That is masculine. Um, I had a client one time. He came to me and he was he was in a financial bind, waiting for an inheritance to come, but it was getting trapped in all kinds of legal things. The other family members blocking it, stuff like that. And so what we did is we worked on his feminine energy, and in the harmonic egg, I use a lot of tracks that work on the sacral chakra, uh, to work on that feminine energy, to get him in a space of receivership as opposed to going out and trying to hunt down what he wanted, which is more of a masculine thing. He was hyper focused on his abundant source coming from a particular place, as opposed to being more feminine about it and allowing the universe or God, whoever, to select where the abundance was coming from and to trust in that process. You know, in church, they say that's called let go and let God, right? It's the same concept. So when he did that, things worked out for him. You know, one day I was actually closed, but I was in my office with my sister because she needed to do a session, and I did it on my day off. And I have glass doors, so he's standing, huge guy, real tall. He's standing in my door on a Tuesday, which I'm usually closed on Mondays and Tuesdays. He's standing there waving a credit card, right, in the glass. I'm like, what are you doing here? I'm closed. You're lucky I'm even here. He said, Charles, I'm paying it forward. I said, paying what forward? He said, you told me to let go, and I stopped focusing on where I wanted my abundance to come. And my abundance came from a whole different direction, something I wasn't even thinking about. I never thought abundance of money would come from this. And it set him up. I mean, it was a pretty life-changing amount of money that came because he let go. He wasn't trying to strangle the process. He let go and he put his request out to the universe. And then it came back from a source that he wasn't thinking of. He was trying to control the process, which is a masculine thing. But I told him to step into your feminine energy and to allow, allow yourself to magnetize this to you. And he was waving his card and he said, I'm going to pay it forward. I said, what do you mean? He said, I'm going to buy some sessions. I just got all this money. I'm going to buy some sessions. I said, okay. So that's an example of that. And how I work with people and use the harmonic egg, use the Bio-Well, see what particular chakras look like, and then work on those feminine energies, even on men. Even on men. So that's an example of how that works, just from an abundance standpoint, but it also shows itself in relationship dynamics as well. You know, there's a thing called divine counterparts, right? And you may have, um, you may be a divine masculine in that counterpart dynamic, or you could be a divine feminine in that counterpart dynamic. And again, gender doesn't matter. Gender doesn't matter. So you can have a big macho guy come in and he's divine, he's the divine feminine in the relationship. And I can sense that. I have a knack for being able to sense that. And I can sense if the woman is the divine masculine in the relationship. And they come together and they find each other and they actually help balance that out in one another. For instance, the divine feminine man may be very laid back. You know, he's not out there like a knight charging towards everything. That's just not how he moves. But he finds himself with a female, a divine counterpart that's a divine masculine female. And she is a go-getter out there. Go, 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 action, 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 action. However, when things don't go well for her, she has to learn to tap into her divine feminine energy where she steps back and allows it to receive. But that go, go, go energy in her, that influences him because that's divine masculine energy. So the male that's in the divine feminine energy, he learns from her divine masculine energy and vice versa. She learns from his divine feminine energy, even though he's a man. These are energies, not genders. That's the main thing to keep in mind here. There's even instances where you can have a divine or a distorted divine masculine female. Now, I've seen this where you have a distorted divine masculine female who's hyper masculine, and it has nothing to do with sexuality or anything in most cases. In some cases, it does actually. But she will carry all those characteristics, very ego based, very possessive, very aggressive, even sexually aggressive, um, and very controlling, just like you would see in a distorted divine masculine who happens to be a man. You can even have a woman that's actually like that. And she will usually seek out divine feminine men. That's because she can actually learn from them. And I don't think most people do this consciously. But when you step back and you look at the couple and you look at the dynamics, you can actually tell. So you can help the female tap more into her divine feminine energy and then help the male tap more into his divine masculine energies. Even the healing process is different. Like the divine masculine tends to do its healing in the 3D realm, where the divine feminine does the healing in the 5D. So they're on a higher level with their healing than the divine masculine, but they're both needed because even though that divine feminine is healing in the 5D, they're still living in the 3D. And when I say 5D and 3D, for those who don't know, I'm talking about dimensions, right? And we actually exist in multiple dimensions. We don't just exist in the third dimension. But that 5D healing happens to be the divine feminine's talent. The 3D healing happens to be the divine masculine's talent. And how that plays out in the egg is all about chakras. So sometimes you may have a divine masculine female, and she may be like that because she didn't get nourishment from her mother, or sometimes the mother pushed them away. So they tend to gravitate towards the father and they pick up all those characteristics. And then they go out into the world like that. Right? And they tend to find a counterpart who's a divine feminine because it balances out the relationship. And he, even if it's just a male, he can actually help her balance out that feminine energy. And the same thing with guys. I've seen guys who didn't have the male nurturing, grew up around a lot of women, so he got female nurturing all the time, no male nurturing at all. So when I deal with someone like that, they don't even know who their father is. They have no concept of that type of energy. We work on the crown chakra because that's where one of the places actually where you store some of your father issues. There are other places, root chakra as well, but mostly in the crown chakra. So I'll have them on lighting and on music that's focusing on the crown chakra, and I'll usually see that in the Bio-Well. I'll see some type of blockage in the crown chakra, or sometimes even the third eye chakra, with father issues, whether it's a female or male. And so when someone has issues with the mother, where the mother wasn't nurturing, they didn't get that attention from the mother. They don't know what it's like. And I'm talking about a female in this case, where they're carrying divine masculine energy. They don't know what it's like to be a female nurturer. They haven't experienced that. It could be for several reasons. The mother could be there. Sometimes the mother is dealing with a father that's out there running in the streets, and she's putting all her bandwidth and trying to keep him faithful, and it takes energy away from the kids. And so they don't get that nurturing. So there are a lot of examples of how that can manifest itself in childhood dynamics, family dynamics. But nonetheless, the way we deal with it in the harmonic egg and identifying it in the Bio-Well is I'm paying attention to the sacral chakra, which is where you hold your mother issues. So that's always a topic because I have people who come in who are different sexual orientations, but it never matters. It doesn't matter what sexual orientation you are. It doesn't matter what gender you are. At the in the end, we can identify whether you're a divine masculine or a divine feminine. And in most cases, what made you lean that way? There's usually something, usually in the childhood stages, that can make you lean one way or the other, which will also determine who you attract in terms of the divine counterpart relationships. So that's a little something I wanted to discuss today. A lot of people ask about that all the time. I think maybe at a later time I may go into more in terms of sexual orientation. I've actually dealt with people, especially younger people now, in the LGBT community, and there's some information that I got years ago, like in the '90s, where they were predicting how the world would look in the 2000s, and it's interesting that it all happened, and I for one think it's actually a beautiful thing to see these different souls coming here from different places where there's maybe even they may be even coming from a place that's androgynous, where there is no male female split, and they incarnate here, and they're in this place with all these rules that they don't understand. They've never been here before. It's their first time. And that's a whole nother episode. I would love to get into that. And how we deal with that in the harmonic egg, and identifying certain things in the Bio-Well. It's a beautiful thing. It's the variety on this planet is amazing to me. I'm sorry, I just find it amazing. And so if you want to get a session, I don't always mention this. If you want to book a session, the description, I mean, the link is in the description below, chromosomatics.com. Tomorrow, we're launching the December sale. It's usually the biggest sale of the year. It goes into the end of the month, but you can book sessions way ahead in the future up till the end of next year, if you wanted to. So I hope everybody enjoyed the session. Please, if any of this resonated with you or did it spark some questions for you, please feel free to leave some comments. I'll respond to them. If you like this, like it, and share it as well. So, like I always say, you are unstoppable. No one can stop you but you. Love yourself and never lower your standards for anyone. Take care.